When it comes to the recent DC animated movies, I've been saying that they seem like a testing ground for the upcoming live-action DC movies. And with Teen Titans, the Judas contract, I actually hope that's true, because there's a lot to take away from this film. I'll give you the highlights up front, and then we'll go into the details. But I think that it shows that they're on the right track with all of these characters, particularly Nightwing. I think it shows also that they understand the importance of the Titans brand and why it was so popular to begin with. And then also, this was what really surprised me, it seems like it would make a better TV series, perhaps like Riverdale, than it would a movie. The Nightwing fan in me is like, no, I want a Nightwing movie. And he's so cool here. His fight with Deathstroke it really woke me up. I felt that there were some lulls in this, especially because I had to watch it when it debuted at midnight. I was like, so sleepy, not interesting enough. But when he was deducing like what happened to everyone, and then when he had that fight with Deathstroke, I was like, this is fire right here. This is amazing. This is everything. Give me my Nightwing movie right now. But on the other hand, from a producing standpoint, I think this could make a really good Riverdale-esque show. Like as popular as Riverdale if done right. And that's hard to imagine passing up. But anyway, let's get into the details. And the thing that impressed me the most about Teen Titans The Judas Contract is that for once, a recent animated movie, I'm talking like post the animated series. I think they've really struggled with their animated movies. But for once, I felt that a DC animated movie understood the tone of the original material, in this case, the new Teen Titans comic by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, and it was able to execute that tone, understood it, and was able to duplicate it. That's hard to do. Both the recognizing it and then the ability to do it again. So what made this comic book so popular in the first place, and why it was so pivotal in the history of a pivotal turning point in the history of DC Comics and for the characters in the pages, is that they really captured the feeling of kids going off to college. The new Teen Titans, with their raging hormones and their sudden independence from being sidekicks. And that was very much at play in the comic, and it's very much at play in the animated movie. And I thought that was amazing, and it's done in a fun, still wholesome way, unlike the Dear Penthouse turn that Bruce Timm's recent animated work has taken. We will be talking separately about the newly announced Batman and Harley Quinn movie, which is jaw-droppingly shocking. I mean, it pains me to have to say this, because I was such a fan of Bruce, and still am, of Bruce Timm's animated work back in the day that made him the legend that he is today, that gives him the leeway to do such horrible things. But I'm actually glad that he wasn't involved in this. I think it shows, and I think the Teen Titans The Judas Contract is better for it. Now, with the comic and here with the movie, front and center has always been with the Teen Titans, Dick Grayson's sexual awakening with Starfire and his independence as Nightwing from Batman. And I'm really impressed with how well they depicted that in the movie. I mean, Starfire is a really interesting character because she's kind of like a guilt-free card to just play, to have this like sexy playmate, right? It's like, no one will think poorly of you. She's kind of like this like awesome, I don't know, like a little bit like it's like saying, oh, hey kid, here's a night with a prostitute, go crazy, but the wholesome version of that. And that's the brilliance of the Starfire character. We'll talk about her too. But with Nightwing, one of the things I also liked, in addition to his relationship with Starfire, they're like such a great, I think, relatable couple. But also, I loved when he would be like, let's show them that move that we practiced. And she's like, oh, Dick, don't you think that would be embarrassing? It was so great. Like, that's a crazy, it's like very like 1960s, like Mad Men kind of like, again, with a sexual awakening in popular entertainment. It's really cute. It's like, it's sexy but innocent at the same time. But I also liked his skills, again, as a fighter, and his deducing skills, to some degree, as a vigilante. He's just a good enough detective to be able to work on his own. Batman should be proud, but he should also knock before entering any room at Titan's Tower or at Dick and Corey's apartment. That's kind of like the whole idea of the new Teen Titans, and they captured that perfectly. Now, of course, Dick is no Damian, and he, Damian Wayne here did a nice job filling the Batman role. So often we're like, they shoehorn Batman into everything just because they want to, have him to sell the material. But I think that Damian, they were able to have that dynamic there without having to have Batman, where he wasn't wanted or needed. And also, Damian wasn't just like like Junior Batman or a Batman replacement. Instead, he very much felt like the Dark Knight's biological son, right? I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? And I like that they continued to touch on him being torn between the League of Assassins and his Bat family. And speaking of his Bat family, the relationship that Damian Wayne has had with Dick Grayson in the comics, thanks to Grant Morrison, has been really pivotal to the character. And I, again, liked seeing it here. It's so nice to see the animation team recognize the great elements in the comics and bring them to a different medium. But while Batman does a great job of creating a little junior Batman, right? Dick Grayson is kind of like the yin to Batman's yang, and he gives Damian a little bit more of a normal life. He's like, let's go out and play. You need a little bit of a break, Damian. I don't want you to become too weird. And I think that Dick has given that balance to Batman as well, which was one of the reasons he made, I think, still to this day, the best Robin. And so his brother's relationship with Damian is also really well depicted here. And as for Starfire, they did a great job with the innocent sex pot, packing some serious firepower, dynamic of the character. Now, I don't like it when all female comic book characters act or dress this way. Like the window, the window on the front of her costume was ridiculous, but it's classic Starfire, right? I mean, Starfire, she's basically, the best way to describe her is like a free love hippie / Playboy bunny in alien packaging, which makes like the whole thing okay, right? You're like, this is, it's a dated kind of approach, from, actually the comic book, she was introduced in 1980. But still, I mean, think about it. She's an alien who learns your language by kissing you. It's fantastic. It's a lot of fun, and she's very well designed. And I liked it. She basically, I wrote in my notes, she's the alien babe to Nightwing's Captain Kirk or Star-Lord. So I think it works wonderfully. And you can't do it again with every female comic book character, but this is the character where you do it and you put the pedal to the metal. I also loved Christina Ricci as Terra. That's how you yell, Tom Cruise. The stuff at the end was amazing when she just lost it. I thought that was fantastic. And I've been a fan of Christina Ricci's work since Pan Am. And she's also been sort of a movie sidekick, trying to make it on her own, to stand on her own. And I'm sure she can relate to a lot of Terra's frustrations. But that ending, boy, that ending was amazing. I was like, wow, you guys really, pulled out all the stops after a little bit of a hit or miss first 2/3 of the movie. But of course, the whole movie would have been much more powerful, even the ending, if they had made this a series or a live action series, so animated or live action. They just didn't have enough time here to do the Judas contract storyline properly, to have certain things have the impact that they're supposed to have. And so again, that's why I feel this would have been a better live action potential series like Riverdale. And I think even a lot of their powers are very low budget friendly, very TV budget friendly. Terra is not so much, but they could find a way. And of course, you couldn't do Beast Boy, but I'm not a big Beast Boy fan. I'm also not a big fan of Brother Blood. I did like what he did to that journalist. I thought that was pretty boss for a villain, and I liked that the show went there. That was one of the only moments in the show where Brother Blood became kind of unique. I thought the rest of the time he just seemed like a whole bunch of different cliche supervillains smushed together. Oh boy, though, I have to say on a side note, this is a great movie to kind of like drive home the point that you shouldn't turn your back on a woman. It's so funny to me. The guys seem to sometimes never learn that they shouldn't underestimate the woman in their midst. It was crazy. I was like, you guys are nuts. What are you doing? You left yourselves wide open. But anyway, with Deathstroke, I have to talk about Deathstroke, obviously, and it's, quite tragic, one of the last roles of Miguel Ferrer, and he's good as always. But two things that bother me a little bit about it. When, first of all, with the nighty scene with Terra and Deathstroke, I was like, this is a ripoff of the Harley and Joker scene for Mad Love. You just can't do it. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe it was supposed to be an homage, but it wasn't nearly as good or as clever or as well written or even as well animated, so don't do it. I also thought, when Damian's like, you were in a Lazarus pit, weren't you? And then Deathstroke took his mask off, and he still looked like super old. I was like, damn, Deathstroke, how old were you when you went in there? Because you should be significantly younger. That's how the Lazarus pit works. And then finally, I do have to add, because I'm sure some of you who are Blue Beetle fans are wondering, I did like the character this time around. I've never been a big Blue Beetle fan, but I thought they did a nice job in particular with his Bee storyline. And I think one of the reasons I like the Bee storyline, and I thought it was nice that he volunteered at that shelter. I thought that was really nice. I don't think they needed to like boil it down because it was just because he thought that woman who worked there was attractive. That's a nice bonus for Blue Beetle, but I wouldn't try to undercut his reasoning for wanting to volunteer in the first place. That was still there. Again, as I said, this was just a nice bonus. Although his talk with the scarab about the birds and the bees, I was like, oh, this is so awkward. I'm glad you're having this set in a closet and only us viewers have to witness it. But I don't like the scarab. I'm not a fan of the scarab situation. I don't really get it. I don't think it's particularly compelling, and I'm totally with his dad that I don't understand how nobody in the entire superhero community can pry that thing off of him and he can go back to leading a normal life. Because, you know, this seems like the scarab is just wearing him, like he has no control over it, and I think that would be very unsatisfying as in terms of being a hero, right? And also that scarab seems sometimes like he's turning him a little bit into a villain. But anyway, at the end of the day, Teen Titans: The Judas Contract is a lot of fun, and it proves that this team and its members have tremendous potential for the DCEU, either on the big screen or even potentially the small screen. And that tease for a potential sequel, I like that as well. They got me that. But, you know, if they want to do another Teen Titans movie, either do an original story or, you know, tell 2 or 3 movies to tell the comic book story that you're adapting properly. I don't like seeing these classic, iconic comic book stories get shortchanged. You know, it's like the Cliff Notes version of the Judas Contract. And that's a shame. But maybe it'll inspire some of you to pick it up. All right, so anyway, that's my review of Teen Titans: The Judas Contract. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about it down below. And you can check out some more videos right now.